Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. It is Tuesday morning. It's April 15th. And it's 3:33 in the a.m. I want to share something with you. That's just, I'm going to say irksome. Every day is something new with this administration. I need y'all to know I struggle to be polite when talking about this administration. I really do. And, I don't want to be censored. So when you hear a pause or you see a pause, it's because I'm trying to find words to be polite. And I know it's hard for somebody to see an individual who's claiming Christ, who's talking about ministry, also fight with, I want to say, that inner hood that dwells within, because I did grow up in the thick of it. So I'm gonna try my best to, again, be polite in talking about this, but there's a faction of folks who are talking about the FAFO component of this administration, and kind of laughing about it, and at times it gets me. At times I get pulled in, as much as I decry that, our prayers and our praise shouldn't be contingent upon somebody else's struggle. And by that I mean, how you're in church and you hear, a minister say, well, somebody wanted to get up this morning, and talk about the fact that you did as opposed to somebody that didn't or that doesn't have, and considering that favor. So I don't like those kind of prayers. I try not to even give credence to those kinds of words. So the FAFO factor, and that in and of itself, that acronym speaks for itself, I struggle with. Now, the thing that's really irksome for me is that a huge portion of folks voted based on their sense of privilege and their sense of entitlement. You may say it's not there, or that's all imaginary, that doesn't exist. And that's because you never looked at the other side of things. And I don't deal with somebody to this day because they never looked at the other side of things. And then, as I shared in a previous video, played the victim and compounded it by then stating that, I was a burden that they had to put up with in making amends. So I want to say this so you guys understand that a lot of times, and this is deeply ingrained in what it means to be an American for some folks, that people of color are viewed as a burdensome dependent. I'm going to put it like that. Yeah, people shouldn't be here illegally, as the phrase goes, right? But I need those people to pick my fruits and vegetables. any other time, I don't like them. I tolerate them. And I often use this line from the movie In the Heat of the Night, where Mr. Endicott is tending to his orchids, and he's talking about how delicate the flower is. And then he uses that same analogy to discuss his black people. See, that kind of thing. That necessary burden. But we don't look at that in our levels of conversation. Yeah. This particular individual that I don't deal with one time said, I feel like I know you well enough that you don't know me. You never had conversation to really know me. You don't know what makes me tick. You don't know what I come from. So don't say that you know me. And I checked him hard. You don't even want to know me because your conversation doesn't go that deep. I'm just somebody to talk to. And in your conversation, you feel like, I'm the spokesperson for all blackdom. That part. So that being said, let me get to the crux of what I want to convey. Now, these same folks who voted that entitlement and privilege, thinking that this particular individual that they voted in was going to look out for their interests, whatever that was, only to find out he didn't care. You were never his point of interest. You were his delicate hothouse flower used for a vote. And as a result, your long-term planning, meaning your pension and the idea of Social Security, has been upended. And there is no security. Now that puts you in alignment with people of color. And I mean the greater community of color. We all work hard. We all invested in Social Security. A great many of us have pension plans. Never stop to consider that. Because in your mind and in your America, it's an accepted fact that we are poor. I want you to think about your thinking. And the reality of the situation. We're all in this together. And there's a handful of rich people. And there's a handful of people getting rich based on the manipulation of a select few. Now, a whole lot of people lost their jobs based on this Doge madness and the thought of, we're saving money, we're cutting government waste. No, you're cutting government accountability so you can continue to consume, to pillage, if you will. I hope everybody wakes up soon. And we need the same level of commitment that was demonstrated for the war in Vietnam. That part. And we need it to the level where everybody wakes up and says, hey, I'm sorry, I depended on you to do the work for something that impacts all of us. That part. Because we're not going to resolve anything if we continue to think on the terms of entitlement and privilege.